I'm sorry, what's your name, Dave? I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm the guy you're writing the article about, Dave Portnoy.
Oh, you're Dave Portnoy. Oh, hey, how are you?
Good.
I don't know if you saw this. Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool, outed and embarrassed a Washington Post writer who's planning to write a hit piece on Dave Portnoy. I've been all over the map with Portnoy in terms. I really respect what he built at Barstool. Some of Dave Portnoy is a bit slimy, but for the most part, Dave has probably been a force for good in a very politically correct time. And I really love what he did here to the Washington Post reporter. They've written a piece, as they're prone to do. He's having something called a one-bite pizza fest. He's got that whole shtick of rating pizzas based off one bite. They're doing a pizza fest. And the Washington Post is attacking the advertisers that are associating with that. They're going to write a piece tomorrow or Saturday, I'm not sure, trying to shame these sponsors and reaching out to these sponsors, really trying to undermine the event. And Dave called the reporter and called her out on it. Let's watch this clip.
This is Emily.
Hey, Emily, this is Dave Portnoy calling. I'm recording you right now, but I've noticed a bunch of people. It seems like you're sending. We have this Pizza Fest happening on Saturday, and you're reaching out to our advertisers, and you're basically sending an email that says, to the effect, Dave's a misogynist, racist. Do you want to defend yourselves advertising at this event, right?
I'm sorry, what's your name, Dave? I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm the guy you're writing the article about, Dave Portnoy.
Oh, you're Dave Portnoy. Oh, hey, how are you?
Good.
Good. No, I'm not. I haven't said anything like that.
I can read if you want. If you want, I can read what you actually sent. I have it.
Yeah, read, because I sent a bunch of notes, so I want to make sure I know which one.
Okay. We are planning to write about the festival and how some of the sponsors and participants have drawn criticism by seemingly to associate themselves with Dave Portnoy, who has a history of misogynic comments and other problematic behavior. I want to make sure that Blank had a chance to respond to this, since the company is the most prominent of their partners of his festival.
Oh, that's the one I sent to, which was definitely the most pointed of them, because I really did want them to respond, and I was hoping to get something from them.
Do you think that's fair? Like, I totally disagree with the assertions of what you said, that misogynic and all that stuff. So, like, it kind of backs people into a corner. So I'm happy to go over anything. I mean, that is pretty pointed. You said you didn't do it. Then I have the exact evidence of you doing it. So
no, I didn't say I didn't do that. I said I did. That was the one that was the most pointed.
Well, no, that one before I provided proof, you said you didn't really remember doing that, and then I read it to you, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I did it that one time." So you did do it. I'm happy to talk about the comments, because to me, it's kind of like torturous interference. Like, we're doing an event. Everyone's happy about the event. I've raised $50 million for small business. I've helped pizzas. None of that. It's Dave's misogynic and problematic, and I'm happy to talk about it, because to me, nobody would like if someone's going around sending that email to their sponsors. And again, you're not like questioning. It's almost like a statement of fact. This is what I am.
Yeah, so I do want to talk to you about this. And I just want you to know that the story I'm working on with a colleague. And I want to kind of loop him on this, because we did want to talk to you. And
when were you going to reach out?
We were planning on doing it tomorrow morning, but
so you're going to write the article and then give me, like, I've had that a bunch. People write a full article and then give me the points after.
We're doing a bunch of reporting, and we wanted to make sure that when we finally did talk to you, we could really kind of present what, or talk about things more fully based on
like what? Like, it sounds like you have your opinion made of me based on that email.
No.
I think it's awesome. And it's the only way you can deal with these people in this time. He cold busted her in a lie. They're going to call her. They're going to call him a few hours before they publish the story and say, hey, we reached out to Dave, he didn't respond, or he didn't respond in time, and blah, blah, blah. And they were going to pretend like they wanted to hear his side of the story. They have no interest in his side of the story. They just want to scare sponsors away from him. This is what passes for journalism in this modern, politically correct, cancel culture environment we've created, and I'm proud, or I hate to say proud, I hate that word, but I'm pleased that Dave Portnoy publicly called out the Washington Post and this reporter.
My reaction. Yeah, I don't bring out the slow 80s clap a lot, but right here, I'm just telling you, Woodward and Bernstein must be rolling over in their grave. Don't know if they're dead, but really, if they were, they would be rolling over in their grave. Let's get to a couple points here that just came to mind. When she said, "Oh, you're that Dave Portnoy," as if Dave Portnoy is like this really common name like Jose Gonzalez in Montebello or in East LA, or Han Cho in Koreatown. Really? You didn't know which Dave Portnoy that was? Speaking of Dave, you have testosterone as that word you can't pronounce. Dave obviously has misogynistic. Hey, none of us are perfect. We all have a hole in our swing.
No,
okay?
Hold on, Steve. I got to stop you. We don't know what she actually wrote because the word he said is actually a word. Okay. It's not we think he meant misogynistic, but we don't know what she wrote. He may have been saying exactly what she wrote, but I did find it odd the whole time I was listening and watching that. But continue.
And Jason, you're right. The level and the standard at the Washington Post has lowered, so there's a chance that your theory could be spot on. Okay. The other thing is, you're right. You now have to be preemptive. There's no room to counterpunch. You cannot be Pernell Whitaker. You must now be Julio Cesar Chavez. You must go in there and body punch. In fact, don't body punch. Low blow them if you have to. There's such a dishonesty with the media. There used to be a philosophy that we as the media, we are in general Switzerland. We're neutral. We're going to get the facts and then we'll make up our mind, but we'll always be based on evidence and the truth. But now what's going on with this modern day advocacy journalism, which is really based on is on the wrong political side of the spectrum? Does he align with our beliefs? Like, think about this. Do you believe that lady, that fine, intrepid reporter, would call out sponsors who are supporting an event where transgenders are shaking their junk in front of 3-year-old toddlers? Would they dare do that? Would they dare question your sponsorship of such events of that nature? I think that's almost a rhetorical question. And again, my hearty tip of the cap to Mr. Portnoy. Well done.
Steve, I think you make an excellent point, and I'm glad you went there with the, if this was some LGBTQ-friendly event, not a peep, wouldn't care who sponsored it, wouldn't care if Jeffrey Epstein came out of his grave and sponsored it, they wouldn't question anything. Steve, I've been in the position that Portnoy's in, and there was a piece written on me either in Newsweek or Time. I think it was Newsweek, and I don't know why I can't think of the reporter's name. It escapes me right now at this point, but it was clearly going to be a hostile anti-Whitlock piece when I was at ESPN the second time. And he made it so crystal clear. He came the first day to our offices in L.A., asked a bunch of stupid questions, and I was like, okay, this is another hatchet job. And so the next day when he did the follow-up interview, I sat down across from him and whipped out my tape recorder, and I said, right, I'm going to tape this interview. And there was a ESPN PR guy sitting with me, and I was like, but I just want to take, and I've never released, and I transcribed the entire interview, and I would love, but there was just no place for me to do it because it was illegal for me to defend myself at the time at ESPN. The guy that I reported to, John Kozner, put me in a little trick bag where if I defended myself against any of these attacks, I was being selfish. And he had entered that into the conversation. That's how I was being evaluated. But I would love to show people the article that was written and then show them the transcript of the interview. And it's two completely different worlds, two completely different things. It has nothing to do with what was actually said and what the truth was. But and had my dealings with the Washington Post. I think the guy's name maybe is Ben Strauss, was their sports media reporter. I went and gave a speech to a group of conservative blacks in Washington, D.C. 5, 6, 7 years ago. And from the outset, there's like a way that they want to portray you or whoever the subject, me at the time, and then there's reality. And so in the first sentence or two of this Washington Post story, they said that I got up to speak and all of these red-hatted Trump supporters stood up in applause. And there's a picture of me standing in front of the audience, and there are no red hats. you can see the audience. They're writing a deal like that. Everybody in red hats got up to applaud, and then you look at the picture that runs above the story, and there's no red hat. So the level of dishonesty with the media is so out of control, and I don't. It's never going to get fixed. I don't believe, because even I have a subscription to the Washington Post. I have a subscription to the New York Times. I don't think either institution is honest, but I still somewhat rely on their information, and it makes me feel hypocritical and stupid that I support them, but I still do. Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.